player ever felt uncomfortable around their coach? Do they play better when their coach isn't watching? Does your player's coach yell and bench your player after one little mistake? If you find yourself in this situation, I'm going to share with you how you can help your player play at their best even when their coach is watching. And so when I was younger, there was a period of time where I was intimidated by coaches, whether they were yelling or even if they were just watching. Their presence sometimes negatively affected my play. And when they weren't around, I would play more free. I would play better. I would take risks. I would enjoy the game more. I was more confident. And it wasn't until I made this one mental switch that allowed me to play with this joy, with this confidence, with this excitement, and with this freedom, even when they were watching. And so today, I want to share with you, if you find yourself in this situation, I want to share with you how your player can do the same thing if they're struggling with this type of situation. So I'm going to share with you the top 4 ways that your player can make this mental switch so that they can play at their best, even if their coach is watching. Okay, so to start at the top, number 4, it's important for players to understand that mistakes are good. Okay, and if you've been listening to me before, if you've heard some of my content or some of my lessons before, uh, you may have heard this before. And so if you Google, if you look up the top 10 players in the NBA that have missed the most shots, okay, top 10 players in the NBA that have missed the most shots, the record in the NBA of players that have missed the most shots, you're going to find that some of the best players that have ever played the game are on the top 10 list. So you've got Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Dirk Nowitzki, Carmelo Anthony, Vince Carter. Like these players at one point were the best in the game, and they're on the list of missing the most. And so most coaches, most parents, and most players don't understand this. And the truth is, like making mistakes is a good thing, especially if you have a young player. They should be making mistakes all the time. They should be encouraged to make mistakes. This is going to allow them to have the freedom to take risks, to be bold, to be brave, and to get after it again and again and again. And so Kobe Bryant was quoted in one of his interviews that when he missed a shot, he knew that statistically, mathematically, the chances of him making the next shot would go up. And so in his mind, as soon as he missed a shot, instead of getting down or frustrated or upset, he would demand the ball back again because he knew that statistically the chances of him making the next shot would go up, right? So this is important for your player to understand, because if they have this understanding and they know how to re-engage after making mistakes, this is going to allow them to have the courage to be persistent over and over and over and over again despite making mistakes. And it'll take this whole worry, this whole anxiety, this whole feeling of that they can't make mistakes. It'll take that and it'll totally eliminate it. So this is a very good principle for players to understand. And what I would do if you find yourself in this situation is to sit down with your player, Google the top 10 players that have ever missed shots in the NBA, the most missed shots in the NBA history, and look at the stats, look at the players, talk to them, get them. It's going to take some time for them to really soak it in so that they can start making this mental shift. Okay, so that's number 4. Number 3, this is something that's really interesting that I want to share with you, which is this concept of letting go of this notion of respecting your elders. And so, if you're a good parent, you teach your player teach your child to respect their elders, to have respect for adults, for people that are older than them. And so I see so many players that what happens is they respect their coach so much that they hold their coach on this pedestal. Basically, by putting their coach on a pedestal, they're caring too much about their coach's opinion. And so I was speaking to a player about this recently, and we were talking about her coach, and I asked her, I go, well, do you plan on having a better career than your coach? She says, well, yeah, absolutely. He, only played to this level, and my goals and aspirations are play to this level. And I said, okay, do you feel like you're putting your coach on a pedestal? She says, yes. I said, well, look, in this situation, you have to understand that if you're going to have a better career than your coach, you are going to ultimately learn more than your coach can teach you. So you can't be putting your coach on such a pedestal. Okay, and I'll give you another example. If you look at the pros, you look at professional players, and you look at professional coaches in the professional environment, the coaches and the players, they're both getting paid by the organization. And so in this setting, coaches and players are more like colleagues than they are with this coach player hierarchy. And so they're more like teammates. They have respect for each other's roles, but it's not automatic. It has to be earned. You have to earn the respect. And so players need to understand this. If the sooner players can understand this, the better, because then they won't hold their coach to such a high, you know, they won't put their coach on such a high pedestal. They won't care so much about their coach's opinion, and they'll put more of that responsibility and that belief on themselves. Okay, so it's hard for a lot of players to make this type of transition mentally, but if they can start looking at their coaches as equals, they're going to be able to play a lot better. They're going to be able to not care as much about their coach's opinion, and they're going to allow themselves to play more freely. Okay. So that's number 3. Number 2, this whole game is about your player. It's about them. It's not about the coach. It's not about the coach's resume. It's not about how many wins the coaches has. It's about your player, because this game, as soon as that whistle blows, it's the player's game. They're the ones that are making the decisions or should be making the decisions. And it's about them. The coach, guys, the coach is there for the player, not the other way around. I see so many players that they feel like they're there to please the coach. They're there to show and perform for the coach. That's not what this is about. The coach should be there for the player. And in a really, really healthy environment, the coach is there for the players and the players are there for the coach, and it's reciprocal. But I see so many environments, particularly in the youth soccer environment here in the US, that players feel like they're playing for the coach, to impress the coach, to please the coach. And this is causing issues and problems with players' performances and ultimately with player development. And so, again, the coach is there to support the player. They're actually getting paid to be there to support the player, to help them grow, to help them develop, to help them have fun, and to help them learn the game. So this is a very important piece for your player to understand. And the final tip that I'll share with you that is a little bit of a shift, a mental shift that will help your player solve this type of situation, to help them through this type of situation, is that your player is the coach on the pitch. Your player, if you look at the best players, they're the ones that are leaders on the pitch. Okay. So here's a good example. If you look at Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson, obviously Phil Jackson, great coach, multiple championships, probably the best coach in NBA history. But when the whistle blew, it was MJ that was making the decisions. He was the coach on the court. And so for your player, if they can start embedding in their mind now that They are they are the coach on the pitch. As soon as the whistle blows, they have to be the one problem solving, making decisions, being assertive, telling people what to do, instructing, guiding, making the right decisions. They have to discern between the right decision and the wrong decision. They are the playmakers. They have to make the decision. So if they can get it in their head now that they're the coach on the pitch, this is going to help them tremendously uh, as they grow and develop and become leaders as they look to play at the college and professional level. So I hope you found this valuable. If you have a player that plays at a high level and wants to work with me, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to see if I can help. I hope you found this valuable, and we'll see you next time. Take care.